Now it's going to be put to the test.
It's going to be put to the test, and DrHippi has the 1-0 lead over Dizdemon. But he's got to win this and beat George C to make that statistic a reality.
The prophecy, shall it come true? We'll find out. And now it is Rogue versus Dragon Warrior. DrHippi, the only player to bring the traditional mid-range aggro style of Dragon Warrior to this tournament. Very much fallen out of popularity in recent months.
Yeah, and it struggled for him yesterday. He went up 3-0 against Lycobaus in that series and ended up going all the way to game number 7 after losing 3 in a row with the Dragon Warrior. Was finally able to pick up a win, but it was down to the wire. And Dizdemon running a pretty standard version of Rogue for nowadays. I guess Rogue is sort of in the stage of evolving. But this is usually the list that I'm used to. You have to run a Charger, and he has South Sea Deckhand in this list as well for that a little bit of extra oomph.
And DrHippi picking up a N'Zoth's first mate. Card he kind of like to have had last turn. Here, he's actually, I think, debating the merits of N'Zoth's first mate versus just using his hero power. His opponent will be able to potentially hero power and just kill the first mate. And decides to go on the aggressive, recognizing that he wants to put the pressure on in this matchup. And he has a hand that's going to struggle to do it.
Double 4-drop, double 8-drop is not what you want to have in this deck.
Not on turn 2.
Definitely not on turn 2. Maybe on turn 8.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because then you could have the option.
Like, beautiful. Oh, but he picks up the perfect card on turn 3. Fierce Monkey. And going to go into the tank a little bit.
Also, it doesn't even have a dragon, so even if he gets turn 4, he might not even be able to play Twilight Guardian, which will most likely be the better turn 4 play over Korkan Elite on an even or empty board. So definitely not a great start for DrHippi. And look at this hand from Dizdemon.
This is a monster of a hand for Dizdemon. He's going to go ahead and just backstab plus SI, taking down the monkey. And this is really going to... Okay, the Alexander's champion there, a nice draw for DrHippi. Not what he's necessarily looking for, would have loved a dragon. Though Dizdemon has Shadow Strike. He has an answer to the Twilight Guardian between that and his weapon. So, you know, with this slow start, DrHippi is definitely looking like he's going to struggle in this game.
You sort of need to pressure the Rogue early with the Dragon Warrior, or else the matchup starts to swing pretty heavily into the Rogue's favor. Back when the old Miracle Rogue was being run, where it didn't run Questing Adventures, it ran Violet Teachers, it couldn't all in as well, and it didn't get going as quickly. Those rogues had some struggles against the Dragon Warrior. But nowadays, the Rogue gets off to a much quicker start. They can all in quicker. They can present bigger threats earlier in the game, and it makes it a lot better in this particular matchup.
And here, Dizdemon is likely concerned about the possibility of DrHippi playing a Blackwing Corruptor the following turn, his best possible play on 5. So there's less incentive for him to try and protect specifically his 3-health minion in the SI agent, because he has the possibility of, say, coin, eviscerate, Edwin, which would make a pretty big Edwin and allow him to keep his SI agent on the board. But that does run the risk of running directly into a Corruptor. But even if that happened, he would be able to fairly easily, if he could go ahead and South Sea Deckhand. All right, so the Deckhand plus weapon is going to take out the Korkan. So that was an 8 damage Korkan. And Dizdemon just getting really aggressive here. He's going to go ahead and Cold Blood and then coin out the Edwin. So keeping the Eviscerate in his hand for burst damage and getting an 8/8 Van Cleef. Yeah. And there is no Corruptor here. There is the Alexander's champion for DrHippi. He can remove the SI agent without taking any more damage from it, but there's no answer to that Van Cleef right now.
This really shows me that Dizdemon understands the matchup, because Warriors nowadays, they won't keep executing. They won't keep executing against Rogue. And it actually might be becoming right to keep execute in this matchup because of how the Rogue usually wins, and that's by making a big Van Cleef or a big Questing Adventure early on in the game. A lot of times in this matchup, I watch and I think, well, if the Warrior just had execute here, he'd be in an okay spot. He'd take a lot of damage, but he'd be in an okay spot. And so Dizdemon, knowing that this is how you win. Going very aggressive with your cards early on is going to have a pretty big edge.
Yeah, well, this is not an okay spot for DrHippi here. He has the ability to Shadow Strike this down with his hero power and just get 15 damage to the face of DrHippi with still no answer to this board in sight.
Now that DrHippi will most likely lose his 4th game of this tournament with Dragon Warrior, how much he's regretting the choice of being the only player to bring it.
I mean, he can't be feeling good about it. Not after the results he's had so far. There is a Blood to Ichor, and not going to be followed up by an Execute, but the Armor Up will keep him alive from just Van Cleef. Unfortunately for DrHippi, that Eviscerate is waiting in the hand of Dizdemon to end this game on this turn.
All right, well, Dizdemon showing sort of the power of Rogue. And he did have a reasonable hand early on, but